Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for December 12th. 2023. We're first going to start off with roll call from the end here. Can we please state your name for the record?
Nick Manapace. I'm Fitting.
Kirk Scott.
Richard Gordon.
Ryan Barber.
And we have one vacancy tonight. We have alternates Cindy Collins, Tim Lucier, and Sam Sims. I think we'll ask Tim Lucier to sit. Were you at the last meeting, Tim?
I wasn't.
Didn't he? Would everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we are due to elect officers for the commission tonight. And to do that, I'm going to turn over to
With our ex officio Roseanne Hardy this evening, although she's not arrived yet. If you'd like, you can certainly turn it over to me and I can run them and begin. As soon as we have the chair will return to the.
I have no problem with that. Anybody? Yeah, everybody's agrees we can do that. If you would, Mr. Gagel, please.
Okay, with that, the election of officers. Do I hear any nominations for the appointment of chair?
I move to nominate Rich Gordon for the position of chair.
I second the nomination.
Discussion? None? Any discussion? Any further discussion? Nothing. Oh, I'll call for nominations. Are there any other nominations for chair? Nominations for chair? Any further nominations for chair? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Look, it's unanimous.
I'm saying myself.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
5-1.
5-1.
5-1.
Okay, nice. Nice.
You vote for yourself.
All right.
Yours.
Okay. Next agenda is to nominate a vice chair, and I'd like to nominate Kirk Sky as vice chair.
Second.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Take a vote. All those in favor of Kirk Scott as vice chair, please raise your hands. Aye. We have election of officers for secretary. I'd like to nominate Brian Bombeck as secretary.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? We'll take a vote now. And all those in favor of Brian Bombeck for secretary, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Congratulations, everybody. Well, for additions to the agenda, I think we have a vacancy for Jason Deeble's position resigned, so Cindy Collins has volunteered to fill the position. She's an alternate right now, and I feel she'd be a fine addition. Would Ms. Collins like to speak?
I just wanted to say I'm excited to be a part of the.
In terms of order, we can just add that to the agenda for.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd like to pose a motion to add that to the agenda and add the nomination of Cindy Collins to the agenda.
You would add, to fill the vacancy.
fill the vacancy, for the regular vacancy, which ends on December 1st, 2025.
For the full seat. So you,
That would be a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay. The 2/3 vote, third vote.
Alice, you like to speak?
Oh, we need a vote.
Oh, yeah, vote before, we vote before, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
you're voting right now.
I knew it all, Miss.
Yeah, yeah, so right now you're voting to add the vacancy
Oh,
to
okay.
the full
We
seat.
did that, okay. So I can vote to add the, nomination of Cindy Collins.
Yep.
Of the,
So to add the matter to the agenda,
you have the,
you have a second from Nick,
can add the agenda,
Yeah.
okay.
and now we just be all in favor.
Okay.
Yeah.
To add the, a motion to, fill the vacancy for Jason Debo.
Nope.
Who's with it?
To the agenda.
To the agenda
Okay,
for,
You have a second from Nick on that motion.
okay,
So you just call for
all those in favor?
Aye.
now. Now,
Ms. Collins, like to speak?
Well, again, I just wanted to say I'm excited to be a part of the planning board. I did attend a few meetings and did learn some stuff about what you guys do. And I was a realtor for 20 years, so I'm a little familiar with some stuff and hopefully that helps. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Any further discussion or any other?
Like to nominate myself.
Okay.
I can.
You go like to speak.
No, I'm honored that to possibly fill the position for the full seat, and I plan on running for full seat next term. Some background with the planning commission already, got a couple of years under my belt. Worked on the affordable housing plan with you guys. I feel like I'd be more than qualified to fill that seat.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
so you're calling for nominations right now?
Yeah.
You've added it to the agenda
Right,
already, right?
right,
Now you're calling for nominations for that,
okay. I call for nominations for the.
which you've done for two of them.
right. So you called for Cindy,
Right,
and then Tim nominated himself, and then third one.
Call for one more time.
anything? Oops. So if you vote on each candidate at this point, or?
Suppose you would vote on them, ask for votes for the first one, ask votes for the second one, whoever got the majority of the votes
Okay.
would be your
Correct.
first person.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Cindy Collins for the vacancy. Replace Jason Debo, relevant vacancy, which ends on December 1st, 2025. Are we calling for a vote on that? Yes, okay.
So that's a motion. You need a second, yeah?
Second. Those in favor? Yeah. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so we do have a vote for Tim.
So,
The vote, the vote,
Ledger's,
Three to us.
and then you vote on
and
Tim.
so just, so I could have a show of hands. Favor of appointing Collins.
Yeah, this-
Okay, and opposed? Okay, Anybody? Okay, so that's a tie, so that's. It doesn't.
Call for a motion.
Can I just ask a point of them? So if we have this one, the same thing, where it's 3-on-3, do we just have to delay this for another meeting or? Go to?
If you delay for, another 30 days to fill the vacancy.
I mean, yeah,
So
so
you go to
we
the
have to do it for today then, right?
Over 30 days.
So if we don't fill it within 30 days, it would go to the board of selectmen.
From the 4th of December, it's when all the vacancies come out, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So it would,
Have to do it today or it has to be filled. Just want to, thank you.
however, you'll have 30 days on the alternate vacancy, which will be next month.
Mhm.
So at the next month's meeting, you can also fill that. And you fill tonight as well. There'll be an alternate vacancy once they appoint and they fill the seat, so that they'll have from tonight 30 days.
And this is a Democrat seat. That's fine. Local government.
Mhm.
I showed that on zoning board previously.
So there was a nomination.
The nomination section, make a motion.
So there was already, I believe, a nomination for,
If anybody wants to make a nomination.
so there's already been one,
Yeah, Tim nominated himself.
right, and Kurt seconded.
Correct.
So you need to vote on that.
You just call for a vote. Second.
Okay. Second nomination for Tim Leduca. All those in favor?
We'll have to discuss.
Okay, well, hands please. But it's getting so different. Okay,
All those opposed? Yes.
and then- So. Crooked. There was no discussion there, it's just question. So,
Just want to, open it to discussion rather than go to board of selectmen.
Yeah.
I think both people would be a fine, commission candidates or people to fill the role. If we give any precedent to, seniority. It's only open to either one. Extend it to the board of selectmen. That's my feeling. They're both fine people, so. Doesn't have to be a political thing. Be honest with you, but I don't have any strong preference. I just threw that out there, that's all.
I concur. Tim has done a strong job as strong participant with the planning commission. There was not anything negative. I guess I wouldn't have a voters put Mr. Deeble in office, so I was kind of thinking that, voters selected someone from that party, so, kind of leading that way. There wasn't anything negative about Mr. Leduc. Did an excellent job.
They the same thing, Ms. Collins had, I think, the most votes in the town for any of those.
Here, you showed up all pretty wild, so that's interesting.
As far as moving forward, delivery of this. Let's proceed. Again, I mean, the board of selectmen obviously can do it, but
Right.
the no consensus this evening.
If it's a block vote, then I guess it's.
you can do it again, right? I mean, I picked out. One of the commissions were on, they went for, no, I'm sorry, it's on.
So, you can keep throwing motions
Yeah.
out there and see what sticks.
Can we table this till the end of the meeting so we can get to the matters at hand, so we don't hold these people up.
Motion to move it to the end of the meeting.
Be wise, certainly, but not. No one's allowed to.
So I'm, Rich, you can just call for a motion to table this and we get to old business.
A motion to table this discussion till the end of the meeting under other business.
I,
Next,
Communicate.
with the call for public delegations. Public delegations, the time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission about certain matters, items, referrals, or applications subject to decision by the commission, a public hearing, or litigation may not be discussed. During delegations, the members of the commission will not directly answer questions or make comments. Does anybody in the public speak? Thank you. Let's go to reports and communications. I see a member resignations. I guess we covered that already.
Yeah, it was Jason's reservation.
Zoning, was there a zoning representative at the last meeting?
yeah, I got. So we got the meeting, but I got the minutes and I read through them thoroughly. There was a lot of good stuff. I thought I'd pass on. They had some transfer of power, ex officio, Ms. Hardy opened the floor to election of officers. Mr. Peck nominated Ms. Jet Harris for chairperson, so she, that motion was approved, so she's the new chair of the zoning. Ms. Kowal is now the new secretary. Ginsberg, who was an alternate, he resigned because he got elected to the Board of Finance. As far as public delegations, I thought interesting. Lisa McGowan stood up. She supports the Pollinator Pathway Group, and all she had to say was that she asked the board to act courteously and professionally, and expressed her displeasure with the previous meeting. So it's been contentious over there. So the lesson for us all here as well. And then the town attorney got up. Thought this was interesting, something we might consider. He gave a brief overview of the duties and functions of the board. Basically, zoning 101. He told about the general role of zoning, and then he talked about the public hearing. You know, how that sequence goes through. The applicant talks first, then the members of the public speak, and then the commission asks the speakers questions. It's a time for the applicant to present their case and for the commission to gather facts. And he talked about when you would disqualify yourself, recuse yourself from a particular presentation or a hearing on the board. And they talked about decision making, when you might be biased, or at what point you should consider recusing yourself. They talked about the appeals process. And then they touched on the Freedom of Information Act. Basically, that is to allow public access to public records and to ensure that the members don't hold private meetings on cases at hand. And they went on and got some questions and answers on that. What's appropriate to discuss amongst themselves, either via text messages or emails. Essentially, the lawyers stated that you shouldn't be discussing zoning issues in private. Everything should be aired in public. I thought that was interesting. And then someone asked if during the public hearing, if an alternate can speak and ask questions. And the lawyer said, no, they were not allowed. So, and it's in the audience, there's a public hearing, that alternate in zoning is not allowed to go up and ask questions or anything. I thought that was interesting. They actually talked about revising the bylaws to allow that in the future. They're gonna look into that. They went on to the public hearing. Talked about amending the text language in the zoning regulations. Adding in the language of prohibiting non-invasive plant species and native plants for new developments, and facilitating greenways to support the pollinators. That motion passed. That, you recall, that went through us last month. Also, it amended the text, the zoning regulations to add the Flanders Village in as in the architectural review, similar to downtown Niantic, has to go through this architectural review. That motion passed as well. And one last thing I note under new business, the development out in Bridebrook, on the west side of Bridebrook, out past Bridebrook Field there, where they put in 80 units. They are going to be applying to add an additional 20 in the future. So that's something for us to be looking for coming down the line. And that's all I got.
Thank you. I guess we need to, for next year, put a schedule in for zoning liaisons, planning liaisons to go to the zoning meetings, I guess. You know that. We don't have an ex officio here. Word from the planning director, Gary goes.
Nothing sign.
And we don't have any reports from subcommittees, POCD. Any here for the updates? Have you listened as acting chair for the chair? Do you have any reports? The next on our agenda is the meeting minutes of November 13th, special meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I had a quick question. I just want to know, because this was in the planning part here. Don't know if variation. Do we have an update on the affordable housing information? Or is that misunderstanding this? Just because it just says like we'll get looking at affordable housing update, affordable housing data. Do we have an update on that, or just is here the same thing
On the origin.
on the minutes from the last time? I was under the impression.
Oh,
we
I'm
updated
in the process of working.
Oh,
on
okay.
updating that. Yeah. I can brief you quickly. So I've done a quick calculation. I can say quick. We're looking at the number of units that were built over the last year to the present date. Our affordable housing percentages slipped backward, down. I know there was an article in the paper that said we're about 6 and change, but it slipped back to 5%, like 5.1. I think that number for you. See, the other half of that equation is calculating the number of affordable units that are in town. And once we tally that up, we can then look to see if there's sufficient number of units to pursue.
I understand this. I just misunderstood the rules in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
So as a point of note on that, in the zoning meeting, I forgot that that afford that housing out at Walnut Hill and Williams. They were describing it as affordable housing that zoning commission voted against. That's on appeal now. They'll be coming back, so the developers are appealing that.
Motion to approve the minutes for November 13th.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Who seconded it?
I said, oh, right.
Oh.
Right. No, I'm-
And I didn't see who was,
Nick.
is anybody abstaining? I just saw a few
abstaining.
hands that went up.
I'm just-
Okay.
It's just think is.
Okay, that's, yep.
They're not approved.
Do we have three people voting in favor?
Three abstentions.
Three.
No, excuse me, I
Oh,
we
three in
have four
favor.
voting in favor and two abstaining.
I didn't, I'm saying three
I
abstain.
think they're
Sticker, did you also abstain? Oh,
They
sorry.
weren't- they weren't-
No.
I wasn't here.
Three.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. They can vote. So I guess.
We have.
I think we can approve them, even though their abstention is not opposition.
Yeah.
Just FYI, even if you're not here, you can vote to approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, no, great.
And so we come to the portion, we have a public hearing, we have an application of Petrif Marcoux for a 4-lot subdivision of approximately 4.27 acres of land zoned RU 4020. And also has a request for a waiver from section 617-1 of East Line subdivision regulations on property located at 220 Pennsylvania Avenue, in East Line. Marco, want to speak?
Mr. Chair, probably before Mr. Bernardo gets going, several items in the record.
Sure.
But we have exhibit A is the application of street marking for 4-lot subdivision of 20 Pennsylvania Avenue. Map 16.2 lot 7.3. Pesticide reports from Joe Taylor, laboratory director of Phoenix Environmental Lab. DEP Wildlife Division National Diversity Database preliminary assessment report dated November 15th, 2023. Exhibit B, request for a waiver from Jim Bernardo, LF, and Eastern Planning Commission. Section 6-17-1 of some subdivision regulations dated November 15th, 2023. E is report entitled Phase 1A/B Archaeological Wisconsin Survey for proposed subdivision at 22 Pennsylvania Avenue, East Line, Connecticut, prepared by Sarah Holmes, PhD, dated October 2023. The F's list of neighboring property owners. Exhibit G is re-subdivision plan entitled re-subdivision plan property at Street Mark 24, property located at 220 Pennsylvania Avenue, China, East Line, Pennsylvania. Prepared by Timothy May, VP of May Engineering, dated November 2023. Exhibit I, legal ads for the 2023 editions of the day's paper. Exhibit J, subdivision review sheets, utility engineers, review comments and plans from Glen North, dated November 27th, 2023. Exhibit K, subdivision review sheet, zoning official review comments of Bill Mulholland, CEO, dated November 30th, 2023. We have Exhibit L, revised re-subdivision plans, dated September 25th, 2023. Exhibit M, review comments from Bill Shear, PELS Deputy Director, dated December 7th, 2023. Exhibit N, plans from Eric B. Quinn, Deputy Fire Marshal, dated December 12th, 2023. Exhibit O, review comments, plans from Danielle Holmes, RS Senior Sanitarian, email December 12th, 2023. Exhibit P, advisory subdivision plans entitled subdivision plan property to market property becoming Pennsylvania Avenue. I get Route 161, Town of East Lyme, County of London, dated September 25th, 2023, revised through December 3rd, 2023. Exhibit Q, proof of certificates of mailing from Jim Bernardo. Exhibit R is public hearing notice sent to Mark by certified mail dated December 8th, 2023. Records. Submitted. Wow.
Okay, my name is Jim Bernardo. I'm a surveyor from Waterford. I'm also with Patrick Marcoux, who's the property owner. I got at least one more item. This is a photograph of the public hearing notice sign, which was placed out in front of the property. So I'll enter that. And I have the original notices for the abutting neighbors. I don't know if you want that for your record as well. She gets it. Okay, so this property is located at 220 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's on the south side of Pennsylvania Avenue, just east of East Patagonia Road. One thing I want to point out right away is as you look at these sheets, north is facing in that direction. Normally you would look at it this way. So north is facing to the left-hand side of the sheet. So Pennsylvania Avenue is here. East Patagonia is just up in here with the traffic light just slightly off to the corner of the paper over in here. This as the notice said, it's assessor's map 16.2, lot 73. It's about 4.27 acres. There's an existing single family house located on this portion of the property here with a paved driveway that accesses it, coming down the property line and accesses the property there. There's also a small shed, which is in disrepair over here in this area here. This property is served by public water, but it has on-site septic, and there's no wetlands located on the property. This is a re-subdivision in front of you this evening. The original subdivision of this piece was created in July 1964 and approved by this commission. So this would be a re-subdivision of that parcel under your regulations. This design is based under your section 23 of zoning regulations, which is the conservation design development regulations in your zoning regs. As staff has pointed out in your application package, there is a pesticide report from Phoenix Laboratories as part of your application. And also there was an archaeological study done. The initial review by the state archaeologist, she had some concerns and suggested a more detailed study. So we hired Sarah Holmes, PhD. She completed a phase 1A, A and B investigation of the property. And then subsequently she came back out just recently to take another look at the property here in the back. And issued a supplement to that, and that's also in your application package as well. The primarily, I'll just point out, if you look at the summary, she said that let me see, it says the phase 1A/B reconnaissance survey did not merit additional testing due to the nature of the site integrity. And the proposed house construction, septic, and associated driveways will have no adverse effect on archaeological resources. But her entire report, she did find some small objects out there, but her entire report is as part of the complete application package. So this is the overall boundary. Again, it's 4.27 acres. On the north side is Pennsylvania Avenue. These are single family residences located here on the east side, as well as on the west side. And to the south, beyond the stone wall, is the Dodgetown condominium project. This is zoned RU 4020. The zone line actually runs up. You can see a kind of grade line this way and goes out that way. The property to the west is actually zoned R10. To this side, it's the RU 4020 double designation. Take a look at sheet 2, which shows the lot layout. The applicant is proposing to do this would be considered a 4-lot subdivision, one of the lots being where the existing house is located. And then we have 2 building lots in the front and 1 to the rear. Again, this is designed under the town's CDD regulations. So as part of that requirement, let me get back to my notes because I'll lose my place. Okay, so first of all, so the lots range in size from anywhere from roughly 39,300 square feet up to the largest one, which is lot 1 in the front, which is 58,600. Again, in the CDD zone, there's actually no requirement for a minimum lot size, but all these lots are very close to meeting the R40 requirements for lot acreage. They're just the only one that's under is lot 2. I'll explain why lot 1 is so large here in a minute. So the minimum setback requirements for the CDZ zone are listed up here in the chart. The minimum front yard setback is 10 feet, minimum rear yard setback is 30 feet, and the minimum rear yard setback along the perimeter of the subdivision is 50 feet. Side yard setback minimum is 15 feet, and 50 feet when it's along the perimeter of the CDD development. Lot coverage is a maximum of 25%. And the building setback from the wetlands or water courses would be 100 feet. Again, we do not have any. So as part of the CBD requirements, and I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between your zoning regulations and your subdivision regulations in my presentation. As part of the requirements of the CDD zone, you have to dedicate a minimum of 30% of the total property area towards open space. So we have almost 186,000. We have 185,993 square feet of property. And we are dedicating 97,000 square feet of that towards open space. So approximately 52% of the property area is going to meet the open space requirements. That's going to be done with a conservation easement around the perimeter of the property. So what we've done is, as part of your CDD requirements, you have a 100-foot, you've got a 100-foot line where you cannot build in relation to the front street. But what we've done is we've created an open space or conservation easement all the way around the perimeter of the property, minimum of 50 feet wide all the way around, which would encompass the perimeter of the property. And that would give all the lots access to that open space, and it would meet the requirements of your open space regulations for a conservation easement. So, walk it. Sheet 3 shows a conceptual development for these lots. It shows a potential, demonstrations of potential site development and what it might look like on each lot. On your subdivision regulations, section 6.2.5 under lot access, it says that you are, which actually let me flip to that. So it says the commission may permit more than 2 lots to be served by a single access drive if it finds that no traffic hazard will result. If the proposed access will serve more than 3 lots, then the access shall conform to the requirements of a private street. So what we've done on sheet 3 here is we've shown that we can put a one driveway to serve lot 1 out to Pennsylvania Avenue, and then we would serve these 3 lots off of a shared driveway. It would be required to build a new driveway. As you may recall from the first sheet, the original paved driveway comes across here. Now, your CDD regulations require you to have a minimum buffer along the landscaping area, along the perimeter of the property. So by your regulations, we could not use that driveway. We'd have to construct 2 new driveways in order to meet your regulations. So, and also, if you flip ahead a couple of sheets, sheet S06 shows a site demonstration if we were to have this driveway configuration. So we've demonstrated we can meet the regulations, but in meeting with staff, Bill Mulholland, Mr. Geschel, we said it's foolish to cut another driveway, and it defeats the purposes of your CDD regulations. It creates significantly more impact, means more clearing of trees. Basically, this area here is already cleared. Why cut down all these trees through here to build a new driveway when the existing driveway's there? So what we and talking with staff, I don't speak for them, but I felt that they would support this as well. We would speak to the commission about potentially using the existing driveway. Again, your CDD regulations would require a landscaping buffer to be planted where the existing paved driveway is, and this area here to be landscaped minimum of 40 feet, and constructing a new driveway. So what we did, at sheet SO4, what I've done was I've provided an alternate. We feel it'd be more prudent and more in agreement with the CDD regulations to limit the amount of impact limit the amount of clearing. And what we'd like to do is use the existing paved driveway and be able to just serve the 4 lots off the existing paved driveway. We would have to extend it from this point forward. We provide the landscaping here with there's some large white pines along this area here. And we would provide the landscaping, in this case, on the west side of the existing driveway to shield it from the neighboring properties. But as you can see, there's significantly less impact by doing it this way and maintaining the existing driveway that's there, as opposed to this here, where we've already had this area cleared, and now we're gonna have to clear this area here for the new driveway. So we would hope that the commission would consider that as part of this plan. But we did want to demonstrate, we certainly can meet the requirements. The sightline demonstration on sheet 6 shows that. We have not received any comments back from the DOT yet. I'm sure they would prefer to have 1 driveway cut where it is now, as opposed to 2 driveway cuts onto 161. But as you can see, there are 2 different, demonstrating with the 2 different plans how we can accommodate that. As far as drainage goes, and you can see it on this plan as well as on the other sheet. So we've demonstrated we're going to accommodate the runoff from the roof and the footing drains by putting in small rain gardens for infiltration here, in this area here. We've also demonstrated on-site septics with a septic tank and a leaching field. And we did the site testing with Ledgelight. We still have not received comments back from them regarding that. Regarding their review, but the soils there are excellent. So I don't think we're going to have any issues with the Ledgelight and the septic review. In addition to that, what we're going to do for handle the drainage from the driveway is there'll be about a 4-foot wide by 18-inch deep trench that will be along the side of the driveway. This will just be basically a grass ditch, and there'll be little stone check dams. And what it will do is it'll allow the water to back up behind the dam and give it time to infiltrate into the soil. We have, like I said, there's excellent, very sandy tills that are there, and there shouldn't be any problem if we can slow the velocity down to allow that that runoff to infiltrate into the soil. There's a watershed analysis that's shown on sheet 7 by Tim May, who was the project engineer. And the drainage was provided to the town engineer, Bill Shear. I don't recall. I know he's commented on the sidewalk construction. I don't think I've seen anything regarding the drainage.
No, he's still working on it.
Yeah, so he's still, Bill Shear is still working on that, on the drainage report. So again, what we've done, and it's kind of explained here in the notes, that, we're trying to show that this is an alternate to what's actually required by the regulations. And we'd ask that the commission discuss that and see that this is a more prudent alternative to what's actually required by the regulations. And then I'll quickly just run through the rest of the sheets in a sec for you. We just have some site details, some soil and erosion control, some typical construction for a rain garden with some congested plantings. Again, this is the sight line demonstration for the potential for the 2 driveways. Now, again, I've turned this some now north. It's up on this. And again, here's the intersection with East Patagonia. Over here is Sleepy Hollow. The existing driveway comes out here. This would be the potential for 2 driveways out onto 161. And again, the watershed analysis. In the last sheet in your set, it's required by your CDD regulations to show a potential yield plan. So this would be a conventional subdivision. I've demonstrated we can come in with a road and make 4 conforming lots to the R40 zoning regulations, but this would require the construction of. So we're not yielding any more lots under the CDD than we could have got from a conventional subdivision. As far as I know, we still have some open items that need to be addressed. We're still waiting for a report from the planning director, still waiting for comments from Ledgelight Health District, the town engineer, the DOT. I did meet with the water department and address some of their comments, but I don't think we've got an official response from them as of yet. Right? Correct? Yeah, I haven't seen anything either. So I went through everything somewhat quickly, but I'd be happy to answer questions. Patrice would not be answer them. I can't.
I'm sorry, I had a question about
Mr. Bamber. Then.
Okay. So couple of things. I looked at the GSI map. And it shows it like 3.3 acres. That's probably just an error.
I would assume, I didn't notice that myself.
Just crack it or so people know we're in here.
Okay. Just wanted to note that there was some kind of discrepancy there.
It must be, because when I had, even if they add up the lot, we've got basically 4 1-acre lots, so we're at least at 4 to 4 1/4
All right.
square footage.
So as far as the RU 4020, where does that come from? Because I looked in the zoning regulations. Is that because it's so old? It used to be R20 or something?
That's correct. Yeah, there were lots that were created under the R20 regulations, so this is my understanding. So they don't want to try to enforce an R40 zone requirement on them now. And it primarily appears in the zoning regs, and I think it's a reduction in yard setbacks
Yeah.
and maybe an increase in coverage, as I recall. I don't remember.
Yeah,
It was definitely a reduction in the.
I know it's
side yard and rear yard by 10 feet.
yeah, you could have a bigger footprint, I think. So,
More coverage.
And I
so,
believe it was a coverage to like 20 to 25 or something, yeah.
so do you have to go by the RU 40?
Anything new has to conform to the RU40, correct?
So 40,000.
That's right.
You're saying under this CBD, you don't have to be.
There's no minimum lot size, as long as you can demonstrate that you can support the house, well, if you needed to, on-site septic. The only requirement is the percentage that you need to dedicate for open space.
I followed your logic about, not putting in 2 driveways and everything, but how do we get around the fact that once we are serving 4 houses, we're not into this private street?
Well, that is, under your regulations, that is, there is a potential that would be required, but again, it's kind of contradictory to the CBD regulations, because private road a private driveway is almost constructed to the private road standards. It has, I believe, 24-foot pavement width.
Private roads are constructed to this town road standard, whereas a driveway is a 12-foot road width. So the private road would have an 18-foot curb to curb paved width, where a town road would have a 25-foot curb to curb paved width, and the driveway would just be 12-foot wide
Right.
strip of asphalt, probably no curb.
So here's what it says, if the proposed access will serve more than 3 lots, access shall conform to the requirements of a private street. And then you go into the private street section, and they're talking about ownership, maintenance, and repair, and, having a community association, collecting dues, and here. So what are you proposing the commission does? Just trying to think, I understand where you're going and what you're proposing there, it makes sense, but I'm not sure, what we're gonna be able to do here, because we have to adhere to the subdivision regulations. Did you give any thought to that?
We did talk about it with staff, but let me just take a step back real quick. There will be an association, because it will have to be someone to maintain or to administer the open space, because it will be owned by the lots and the development, so there will have to be an association anyway. And there'll be, driveway agreements and things like that drafted up. Maybe Gary can help me with that. I forgot what our discussions were as far as, it's on lot access 625. I believe that's what you're referring to. In sub.
One.
I know we discussed it. And again, I think we were just hopeful that the commission would see the fact that, again, because it's in the subdivision regs and it's not in the zoning regs. So it is something that the commission, I believe, has discretion on. But
The electricity's coming in on poles and telephone.
I scribbled that in the margins if I was sitting there, and I got to touch on that. So yes, we have asked for a waiver for the overhead for underground utilities, and that's only for this purpose. The current utilities run from there's a utility pole here, there's a utility pole here, and then there's one here. That's overhead. From here, they run underground to the house. So we're asking to leave these poles in place and we'll feed all the houses underground from those pole locations. But for now, we'd like to keep the poles that are overhead and these 3 poles here that are in this location, as opposed to having to run all the underground utilities to all these lots. So that's the waiver that's requested for underground
The
utilities.
existing cables can service 4 lots versus.
There's already I'm not an electrical guy, but there's already a transformer on this pole. So I think, I understand that that will be sufficient to serve at least these 2 houses. They may have to do a modification to this pole in order to serve those 2 there.
All right, I just didn't know if it was gonna get too onerous or maybe extra cabling, it would start becoming eyesore or something, but doesn't sound. Need from each pole over to each house, but.
Right.
No real net increase in anything that would look unsightly, right, so. Okay, that's all I got for now.
I had, I guess I forgive me on this, I'm pretty new for that one, but said the plan was to add like a homeowners association or?
Yeah, there will be some sort of a homeowners association because it's a shared driveway, so there'll have to be some sort of maintenance agreement for all that. So there will be some type of an association set up. And this open space has to be under the direction, either the homeowners association has to. What's the word I'm looking for? Not own it, not maintain it, but we have to hold it, right? Otherwise, the town someone has to hold that dedication. So it will be an association that has to do that. Yeah.
But I guess that goes into my question here of like, I don't know how this ends up going. It's like, so how does that work if the association fails to maintain this? Because I don't mean this as any that one, but assuming Mr. Marker, you're planning on selling these homes, right?
No, it's one is my family.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming you're not living in all 4.
No,
Yeah.
existing house is
Yeah.
it's me, my family, and the rest of it.
It's not uncommon to have small homeowners associations, but
I guess to answer your question, the enforcement of that easement would be the Attorney General. They, in terms of land trusts, ensuring that they do what they're supposed to do, which is evaluate or enable to keep them accountable, the Connecticut Attorney General oversees them. So I would think in this case, it's a similar kind of situation where the association is responsible.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't know.
It's like a condo piece,
Yeah.
Here, we're not gonna have that we do, outside, but we maintain, the driveway, but it's known, same thing, same concept.
It's just.
Actually,
Yeah.
or they have to write the Bible.
Mr. Marco, could you just state your name and address for the record?
I'm sorry. My name is Patrick Martin. 220 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay,
And then,
thank you. You just need to speak, please, for the record.
I'm sorry.
What is the current space? Like, is it grass? Is it, I'm afraid I can't really tell from this. Is it grass? Is it wooden? Is it?
There's some grass, there's some wood.
Yeah, there's grass along the side of the driveway here. Obviously, there's a little bit of grass up here in the back. All the rest of it is pretty much wooded. Yeah.
Okay. And is that the plan to keep it that way as open space? I don't know.
Yes, absolutely. We're not gonna just wherever the house is gonna be, the rest of it. Of course, we want more green I'm gonna live there.
The regulations require it to be a wooded buffer. So yeah, the areas that we've dedicated as open space around the perimeter will also be maintained as a wooded buffer.
Okay. I didn't realize it was in here. Didn't see it.
Anybody else? Are we going through? Public questions, comments, or are we still? I do know.
Yeah, I think we just do the commission
Okay.
questions right now.
So I'm seeing a waiver here for section 617(1). Mr. Bombeck brought up 2 other sections that apparently may not be met or where we may not be compliant. are we looking to get those, how do we resolve that? Because we don't have a waiver for those.
So I think, well, I guess what Jim was asking I suggested how we handle this, but I think they have demonstrated that they can fit the two driveways. So essentially, they can go back to the original plan. And my suggestion would be, in terms of the width, is adopt the existing driveway to serve 3 lots.
Yeah, that would be the other alternative, would be do a hybrid of the two of them, have these 3 lots come off the driveway, so we're in compliance with that. And we have to do one driveway to serve lot 1 in the front. It's going to be a hybrid of the two. We're hoping the commission would see that it made more sense just to put all 4 off of one driveway, but if it's not possible, then we're gonna have to do some type of hybrid of the two. I believe that's what you were trying to say, right, Gary?
Yes.
Right, but we wouldn't be able to do that unless you requested a waiver, right?
No. Regs just say that, notwithstanding that all lots shall meet the suitability requirements of the section, actual access to 2 adjacent lots may be provided by a combined access drive. Commission may permit more than 2 lots to be served by a single access driveway that finds that no traffic hazard will result. If the proposed access will serve more than 3 lots, then the access shall conform to the requirements of a private street. In this case, the access would serve 3 lots, and the 4th lot would have its own access. So it would just have to conform to a driveway, and there's no waiver required for that. Demonstrating that they can meet the regulation, with them saying,
Well, they could meet the regulation if they went with the private drive. I guess you'd have to weigh the pros and cons, the cost of
The cost is pretty significant for the private street. Yeah.
versus cutting in another driveway.
Yes.
Okay, because you already have that common association, right? So that's not a big.
Because the first house also it's right there, it's not even 15 linear feet and or 20 linear feet and goes in, it's not like it's gonna go to the first house, you know.
Aesthetically, it would probably be nicer just to have one driveway, right?
Right.
But
And that's, we're trying, you know,
I know.
that's what
I hate it.
our our mindset was, and our thought was, but by the regulations, can we do it? Is the question.
Having one common entrance and exit seems to me to be a little more safer as far as a traffic impact here on Pennsylvania Avenue.
I agree. So basically, the major issue seems to be traffic, and I guess it goes through us. They still need a permit from Department of Transportation. They still need to approve it, and
DOT will need to
approve it, and they have to conform to their requirements also.
at some level, yeah. Typically, DOT will wait for the local approval before. But I think that this is something that I think we can figure out a solution between, being that we have to wait for additional comments from Wedge Light, town engineer, myself. What I typically do is put together a memo for the new members, a memorandum with findings, going through the regulations, the requirements, and demonstrating how this meets or doesn't meet those requirements. With that, I would think we can kind of tease this out a little bit to see which way the best way to pursue it. Knowing that they have a plan that meets the regulations, I think I would consult with the town attorney to see what their thoughts are on buying the driveways and how, if we have enough discretion within our regulations to do that or not. If not, we can just note it as maybe a shortcoming in the regulations and look to make a modification to that. If we feel that not enough flexibility in cases like this, where I noted, I did note that again, we limited to 3 lots. Again, when you look at the low volume road standards, we set the threshold at 20 lots, saying that's when you need a second means of egress in order to keep the volume in both directions on the road low. That's based on the design standards, 25 mile an hour. So keeping that in mind, we may want to revise that today.
I agree that we should consult with the town attorney, see if we're looking into waiving some of the subdivision, other, alternatives we have. And I agree that we should, as you mentioned, we have a few other, you know, with, apartments that have to,
Wait, yeah.
right, so. Any other comments? Mr. Scott?
So we mentioned the underground utilities. Is it? Do we have, what section of the subdivision regulations act?
617-1.
617. So I understand what you were saying about the poles and, you know, wanting to keep them, I think that's fine. Guess my question is, like, if we're not fully compliant with the 617-1, wouldn't we want to on that one too?
That there is a waiver request.
There
in
is a
there.
waiver. for that
There is a
one?
waiver request in there,
Oh, I'm sorry.
in your application
That is
package,
that one.
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Got it, okay. All right. Caught up now.
It's okay, thank you.
Mr. Gordon, I just had one addition. Sure. It's not really Mr. Marco's responsibility, and I don't mean that for anything for this part. It's just, I just keep thinking every time we approve one of these single housing developments, it does end up meaning it's another part that seems further away from the affordable housing goal in the POCD. That's obviously not the individual's responsibility, but, you know, we just heard about how we're going down in that direction, and it's just not great for us.
Can I comment on that?
Sure.
I mean, we discuss the applications as they come before us, not the ones that we want to have.
I know, I agree.
That's my only,
And I'm not trying to just, it's nothing to do. with
they
this, I
have
just-
no control over the other
Alright, thank you.
applications. So,
Less of an issue on the subdivision applications and the other, apartment
Just
houses.
thought it should be noted.
Thank you.
This would be a difficult site for affordable housing because of the fact it's got septic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we get approved. If not, I'm not gonna live like this here. I don't care.
I'm not saying it has to be, I just don't think that it's like. It's more of just a note.
Thank you. Just one last comment on this one that I'm all for, you know, reusing, repurposing what's already there too. That's a good idea, you know. It's what's resources being used.
Chomping at the bit over here to say something.
I just want to
Okay.
say something. This is my first thing that I did, a subdivision, but, and I tell them, this road, it's not all 4 houses in the back. It's all first, second, third, and fourth. Means it's no all 4 cars is going back and doing the circle is going to houses, you know what I mean? It's all individual, you know what I mean? It's not like all go through one driveway and after they do circle. This is why it's a little bit different. This is why we thought it's better for the environment and less stress to use one driveway.
Open to the public, if anybody else wishes to speak. Yeah. Okay.
Well, being that we're still, there's no other question, I would say that we just continue the public hearing to the next regular scheduled meeting. And waiting for.
Hearing and, you know, get all the documents in order. And a little more time to review the documentation that's been provided. We'll get discussed to the town attorney on the other issues that we discussed, so. Motion to continue the public hearing.
Who seconded?
Extensions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. you can
Guys,
continue.
zoning referrals, there are none. Municipal referrals, none. Business, the discussion we had previously regarding replacement for Mr. Deagle. For his vacancy. Anybody else want to discuss any?
I have a question, if that's all right. What's your? So when this goes to the Board of Selectmen, they just, I'm assuming, if we're not able, excuse me, I didn't mean to make it sound. If it went to the Board of Selectmen, that's just, they get to decide, they don't like defer this to the next meeting or anything, it's just, they have to make that decision within 30 days, that's just the requirement. I just want to make sure I understood that.
No, if the board of selectmen has 30 days. I think they have an indefinite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You guys have 30 days.
So what about,
And
Thank you for that.
they, pretty sure they would fill it, and they'll typically look to the commission for like, there is one, but in this case, we're at a standstill for a tie. I think they would just have discussion amongst themselves as to who to seat. And it could be, it may not even be either of the candidates here. It could be someone from at large. So that's I can tell you.
This vacancies are for 2 years.
Alternate vacancy that occurs, I think, was a 2-year.
4 years, right?
Yeah, it's something. I thought it would be 2 years as well, but yeah, I was clarified on
Well,
that. It is 4.
But if Tim fills the seat, your term ends in 2025, yeah?
Yeah.
So
It
his,
would be 2025 either way for you're right.
for both, okay.
Well, I'm saying the new alternate wouldn't get an extra 2 years, I guess is the point.
Right.
Yes. But if Ms. Collins or Mr. Sims filled it, then it would be for 2 years. Oh, no, I meant sorry. Their alternate seat would still be 4, is what I was trying to say. Yes.
To resolve it amongst ourselves now.
I mean, I don't know, but I can't say I know you very well. It's just a matter
And
here.
I will say, this is not a political move by any means, and I'm a third party individual who will be running so next cycle. It's just a matter of, I've been with this commission now for a couple of years, and I've only missed, I think, maybe 2 meetings. Also with the Affordable Housing Subcommittee, working on that document to get it together. I was at every one of those meetings as well. I don't know you, I like you, seem like a nice
Yeah,
person.
so,
It's nothing personal, but I just feel like I am more than qualified to fill at least the 2 years. And then so I'd hope you, my brother's down there at the end, that you'd reconsider with a vote so we can all go home.
I also just want to say on that one, again, this is nothing a reflection of anyone on the board for doing, but Ms. Collins, Mrs. Super just on the ballot. I don't think so, but you were not. It's all right, but you were very capable of running for that seat this time. If you chose not to, that is your own decision. Ms. Collins is the most recent one with the most votes on here. That doesn't include everything, but it is definitely a statement about the will of the voters. And I don't think it's very much of us to say that we know better than the voters.
Well, I also didn't run.
You're right, but you could have, and you didn't. That's okay. I don't think anyone would.
And I don't think that's a negative point. It's to consider in this seat right now.
Okay.
I move to take another vote on the nomination of. Guess we'll start with Tim.
Yeah,
We're voting for me now?
We're
Yeah.
voting to vote.
Voting-
We're voting on whether or not we're gonna vote. Is that what we're voting on?
Yeah.
What's the last you wanted?
Voting.
What was the motion?
Uh,
Maybe just repeat the motion.
okay.
That would make it a little
So I
easier.
move to have further discussion on voting for placement of the planning vacancy.
I mean, it's just a tough decision, I just,
That's a vision.
I think you can. we-
You can make 'em-
Right.
I think a discussion.
Yeah, I mean.
So
we
you're
don't-
going on.
So I would just put out a nomination.
All right. I move to nominate Tim Leducer the planning commission chair. Right, chair.
All those in favor?
Keep your hands up.
Voting strictly because Tim's been here, he has the experience. Cindy, I love you. And I'm sorry, but it's a two-year term,
Right. And then
It's
how do you feel if
seniority.
she's what?
you know, it's seniority. I know disrupting the flow here and everything, but I just, this should be nonpartisan. To me, it's seniority means something. And an active participant, that's my feeling. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, that wasn't one vote.
Yeah,
We
I
have
was
to
just
call
saying
for
that was-
opposed or abstaining.
Oh, I'm sorry, any opposed?
One. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. There any abstentions?
Further comments or just?
Vote on that.
Carries.
Yeah.
So carry.
I propose like for further discussion. Or-
You had a motion to nominate Tim Reducer for the regular member.
Yeah, we don't need to have a full vote if we're nominating people, right? I thought we just voted.
If we want to discuss more discussion or.
Usually the discussion comes before the vote,
You have a second discussion.
Oh, no problem.
But you have the vote, so.
but that doesn't mean you can. say.
No, it's fine.
That's right.
Well, I mean, you could still make
You can-
more nominations.
No. It's the comments, whatever, but that's fine.
Then nobody else is nominated, so, right?
I mean, yeah. That's right, we're already on that too.
Nominate. I just want to resolve it, that's all.
I just,
I just feel like we're one team, so we're not.
nice. Been so nice.
No, Tim was in the concert. Both times.
In 30 days.
Yeah, we'll have this.
So-
We still have minority representation for the alternate position, right?
Good, she's already.
Yeah.
And it's not a partisan thing all we want, but
Right, yeah.
there it is still. Saying there's, where you have to fill that one. Like I said, they didn't run, you guys didn't run anybody. You get to put somebody in who didn't get voted for.
Can I comment?
No, you can go ahead.
You come on.
Okay, I mean, it's a difficult decision, but basically, we're not going by precedent in this vote. I understand, you know,
I mean, I just don't, I don't mean to say anything. I think we've all accepted it, right? It's over. Do we
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean-
vote again?
him obviously had the experience. and
It's fine,
so-
but it's over with.
I understand.
I'm not trying to be that people like, we all
The
get it.
voting thing, though, I mean, wasn't there only 3 positions to fill?
Yeah, because Jason was still serving his term.
Couldn't have a 4th person get elected anyway, right?
Well,
Jason was still,
there were only 3 people Democrats ran, only 2 Republicans, because that's the
there
most.
was only 3 openings, right?
Yeah.
So and we couldn't get more people around. I mean, we couldn't have filled four.
I guess I don't really know what we're, sorry.
Oh, well, you said Cindy ran,
She did, as an alternate.
right, but I mean, she didn't run as,
Yeah.
I think the issue is replacing a Democrat.
I think what Brian's trying to say is Tim was already an alternate. Jason was an existing member.
Yeah.
The position wasn't available to run for per se.
right, that's the point I'm trying to make.
I mean,
Well, you got 3 and 3 now, right?
yeah,
Right,
So their bodies.
I'm sure we'll get along great. I'm just not having it for this one for it, is that this is always the thing that comes up. You guys keep pushing it.
It's today. It hasn't since today.
Guys did this in the zoning board.
There's one change with today.
I don't
I guess we finish the discussion. I mean, this is.
I don't know what the zoning is.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm sure you guys don't. But it just keeps happening.
There
Hey,
isn't.
hey,
There's no
Okay,
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I did the fair thing. I mean, that's all.
It's a difficult choice in this, you know, I understand Nick's point, and Brian's point, and. I guess I was trying to, I guess. It's a difficult situation, obviously, Tim had the experience being on the committee, so. He did an excellent job, but Jason was a Democratic position that was replacing that's traditionally been. Filled by Democrats, so. But
Really should.
at the point, so.
I don't think it should matter in this board, right?
But we can say that, but we have like minority representation on these boards for a reason. Like, this is a limited thing, like when we have this one, it's set up how we do that. We can say, oh, there's nothing in there, it's not there, but we don't, these are appointed positions. They're not, excuse me, they're not appointed positions for a reason. They're elected.
You're a libertarian.
Yeah, you do.
So there's some.
But did you get elected on the Republican ballot? Because then you then count for that. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think we can, I think it's.
I don't mean that.
I think we covered it.
It is.
Have a motion to adjourn,
Yes.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.